Hey YouTube, it's Azure Option here, coming at you with a deck profile for that Mechlight synchro deck which I gave you in my last video, or at least I gave you a dual video of in my last video. I did upload a deck profile with it because the deck was really incomplete and I didn't really feel comfortable with uploading a deck profile which I know isn't really too good, and the dual video was mostly just to show off the possible sort of plays and the potential the deck could have. Um, but this build is a lot more consistent, and I feel like it's probably worth uploading. It's not quite finalized, but I feel like it's at a stage which I can probably upload it to you guys. So to get into the deck profile, I'm playing 3 Galaxy Soldier. Galaxy Soldier sort of is like its own mini engine in a light based deck and just allows you to go to so many different plays. Galaxy Wizard and Galaxy Zero are here to extend this engine, and Galaxy Wizard improves consistency, and so does Galaxy Zero, and it also adds another sort of explosive late game play which you could do by reviving your Galaxy Soldiers in your graveyard. By boosting consistency, I mean that if you open up with 2 Galaxy Soldier, this is normally quite bad, but you could discard one to special summon the other. And with the one which you special summons, you could add a Galaxy Wizard. You could summon Wizards, use its effect to add Galaxy Zero, then activate Galaxy Zero to special summon the Galaxy Soldier you discarded, and then you could go for a rank 5 play. I'm also played 3 Cyber Dragon Core, and Cyber Dragon Core is really quite core to how this deck runs. Not getting the Cyber Dragon Core in your graveyard or in your opening hand can really slow down the deck, but we play ways to really do that quite quickly. And Cyber Dragon could also sort of function as a Cyber Dragon in your graveyard for Repair Plant. And Cyber Dragon Core is just really good as well, because if you have like a small hand, which rarely ever happens to be honest, because this deck maintains hand advantage quite easily. But if you don't have a large hand and you have a core in your graveyard and you have like a couple of cards, you can normally make something just by banishing Grawl to summon Cyber Dragon. So Cyber Dragon is a really good card. By itself, it's just excellent. Even when you're siding in, just summoning the Cyber Dragon setting free is just a really good play, because it's still a 2100 beta. Decks like Infernity and decks with small betas sort of struggle to get around it. Especially like Fire Kings as well. Once you get like a D-Fissure, they're pretty much screwed against a Cyber Dragon. It's just a really good standalone card, and I feel like playing 3 is probably worth it. 2 Violon Tetra, because Violon Tetra is a searchable tuner and it works really well with Powerful Mecha Dragon. In fact, it works really well with anything, because you could just attach it to a monster and it can't be destroyed once, which is just really good, and it only requires 500 life to do so. 3 Effect Veiler, because Effect Veiler is really amazing to stop really big plays, and if it's dead, you can just discard it with Galaxy Soldier anyway. 1 Honest, because it's honest and this is a light deck. 3 Moral Attack, or Artifact Moral Attack. So this is a big change which I made to the deck. I sort of took out the sort of synchro based engine and put in more of an XYZ engine, and even though I sort of like took out the synchro based cards like Junk Synchron, I cut this down to 1, which I'll get to later. The deck is still very capable of making synchros because of Violon Tetra. So this deck is a lot more balanced in terms of making synchros and XYZs, rather than my old version, which was mostly just synchro based. Hence the sort of Mechlight synchro name. But Ball Attack is really good. If you draw it and you don't want to set it, you can discard it with 4 Galaxy Soldier, and you can also play Theosophy, and this sort of completes the sort of mini artifact engine, which I'll get to later. But Ball Attack is really good. 1 BOS, you're probably thinking that I'm not playing enough dark targets, but Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon is a dark, Librarians are dark, Powerful Dragons are dark, Jeweled Red Dragon Archfiend is a dark, and so is Adrius. So getting that dark in the graveyard for Blackluster Soldier is really not very difficult. And plus, if you happen to dead draw it, you can discard it for Galaxy Soldier. So again, if you can play a lot of light monsters that really aren't too consistent and can potentially be dead, but Galaxy Soldier just makes up for it, especially since it's searchable via Cyber Repair Plant. I played a Thunder King, same sort of logic, but Thunder King is just a really good standalone card, especially when you side in, it's similar to Cyber Dragon. Birdman, because if you so there's so many plays to go through with Birdman that I don't even know where to start. But if you use Philosophy to summon a Mole Attack, during your turn you can bounce it for Birdman, discard Mole Attack for Soldier, and then go for a Stardust or a Jeweled Red Dragon Archfiend. If your opponent leaves a Cyber Dragon core in the field, which they will do quite a lot, because they won't want to send it to your graveyard, because you'll be able to use Cyber Repair Plant, and you'll also be able to banish it for Cyber Dragon. What you could do is bounce it to your hand for Birdman, resummon it, add another Cyber Repair Plant, and then make an Aegis, or sorry, not an Aegis, an Armades, or a Librarian. And it's also a dark, so for example, if you have a wall attack on the field, you could just normal summon Birdman, make an 8, and then banish 2 for Blackluster Soldier. 1 Junk Synchron, I cut this down to 1 from 3 because, to be honest, Trish is banned. Like, that's the main reason why I did it. If you have Tuning Rare, Junk Synchron, and a Galaxy Soldier, you would have been able to make a Trish, and then you would have drawn from Tuning Rare, and you would have gone incredibly plus from Trish. But without Trish, the best target is pretty much Mistworm, and Mistworm is good, but first turn it's not very good. It's not like a first turn Trish, and Trish is just so much better overall, to be honest. And I feel like without Trish, this deck should concentrate less on synchros and more on XYZs, and balance the synchro to XYZ sort of aspect of the deck. For hand traps, apart from Effect Vader and Honest, I'm playing Swift Scarecrow. I took out the Gauze and Trags, and I was actually tested Battle Vader at one point, but I took that out. Sith Scarecrow is just much better because you generally don't want to have like a Battle Vader on the field, because you want to be able to use Cyber Dragon Core, or you want to be able to summon Cyber Dragon. Gauze is a similar story as well, but you can probably opt to play it if you want. But I chose not to play it because of Mole Attack, and if I set up Mole Attack, I won't be able to summon a Gauze unless my opponent destroys it. So I took out Gauze for that. And Sith Scarecrow not only leaves you with a blank field if your opponent cleans your field, so that you can do your plays with Core or Cyber Dragon next turn, but it's also a machine. So if you have a Core on the field, you can normal summon Sith Scarecrow, make Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, and you have your Dark in the graveyard for BOS. So it being a machine is really, really important, and it's quite useful. Freeback C, because decks like Sylvians, Lightsworn to some degree, I guess, and Chronomaly as well. You've got a lot of spam decks, decks that just love to special summon, and Free Maxi is pretty live against those sort of decks. For spells, I've got 2 Cyber Repair Plant. I cut this down to 2 instead of 3 because this deck isn't playing Tutored Rare, and it's not playing as many targets as my previous version, and also because Cyber Repair Plant is kind of inconsistent because you need a Cyber Dragon in your graveyard, and we do play ways to get into the graveyard, but I prefer to play 2 over 3. 1 Power Duality, this is something which I'll be putting in and taking out, because Power Duality is one of those cards where it boosts consistency, but in a deck which special summons a lot, like this one, it really slows it down. But we do play Maxi, we do play Effect Veiler, and we play Theosophy, which special summons on our opponent's turn, so we could probably afford to play just for 1 Power Duality. 3 Mystical Space Typhoon to clear away annoying back row. Artifacts are a thing, but as long as you don't have anything on your field, you can blind MST, and to be honest, I really wouldn't recommend blind MST in any way. I would recommend just setting it and using it on your opponent's turn. But still, MST is still a live card, and decks like Trap Tricks exist, which just summon Murmillo and set 5, so MST is quite important. 1 Foolish Burial to get Core into the graveyard really quickly. You can use it to send Junk Synchro or Birdman to the graveyard for BOS, but that rarely ever happens. It's mostly to send Core. Or you could also send it to send. You could also use it to send a Soldier for Galaxy Zero as well, but again, that rarely ever happens. It's mostly to send Core. Dark Hole, I feel like I don't even need to explain this. We're playing Maxi and Vaders and Sith Scarecrow, so we need something to kill our opponent's board on resupply for OTKs. Galaxy Zero, because as I mentioned before, it extends the Galaxy Soldier engine. with Galaxy Wizard. Theosophy of the Artifacts. I'm playing this card because it's really, really good. Not only does it open up rank 5 plays, and not only is its target a light monster which works with Galaxy Soldier, but it's also a really, really good defensive trap. And even when you use all of your moral attacks, you can still set it, and it becomes basically like a wild tornado. And if your opponent destroys it, you get to pop a card on their field. So it's really, really good. It's a 6-card engine, and it's really, really powerful. It adds a lot of defense to a deck which is otherwise not very well. It's fairly open because I don't play much protection outside of this, apart from Maxi and Veilers. And that's pretty much it. To be honest, like, this engine is just really, really compact and really, really powerful. Just being able to disrupt your opponent's plays with Theosophy to summon Moral Attack is just really, really powerful. I can't really emphasize this enough. And for the final card, I'm playing Trapstun. Most of the time, you're going to use Theosophy on your opponent's turn, and if your opponent destroys it, it activates in the graveyard, so you can still use it even when Trapstun is active. And you're mostly going to use Trapstun on your turn in order to protect your plays and make sure they go through. So Theosophy doesn't really conflict with Trapstun. For the extra deck, I'm playing the Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, which is pretty staple. An Adrius, sorry, not an Adrius, an Armades and a Librarian for the 5s. You can make this with Birdman and Core. Paladin Zectron, you can take this out for Tyros if you want, but I'm testing this card and it's working out pretty well, especially against artifacts. You could also play Powerful Mecha Dragon. I'll definitely recommend you playing Powerful Mecha Dragon. This card is very, very important. It's just really, really good first turn with Violon Tetra, and even if Tetra gets sent to the graveyard, you could revive it with Junk Synchron and go for a play, and then attach Tetra back to Power Tool and draw cards. So it's just really, really good, and it's a dark for BOS. Black Rose Dragon, pretty much a staple. Michael Lightsworn Arc. This card is just extremely amazing, just such a great card, extremely powerful, borderline broken in my opinion. I would play more than one, but because of the life point cost, you're rarely ever going to get through one, so I feel like one is fine. Stardust Dragon, I put this in because it's really good against artifacts, and artifacts, Chronomaly, Sylvans, and Lightsworn are pretty much the meta in TCG plus OCG. I come across those decks so often that I could pretty much just side for those cards, side for those decks, and I pretty much know that my side deck is going to be live a lot of the time. Jeweled Red Dragon Archfiends, I put this in over Scrap Dragon and Crimson Blazer because I feel like this is a better card. It's definitely a really good comeback card, and its 3k body is just, sometimes a bit of a problem for your opponent to deal with. Leo, because you can make this card and it's pretty good. Some decks can't really get around it. For XYZ's 2 Constellar Pleiades, I did originally have 1 Pleiades and 1 Tyros, but I rarely ever made Tyros, and there were so many times I wish I had a second Pleiades, so I decided to cut a Tyros for it. 1 Adrius because it's dark and you need some sort of rank 5 dark target for BOS, and also because it's just a great card. Sorry about this. 1 Volcasaurus because Volcasaurus is an amazing card, and 1 Gaia Dragon because Gaia Dragon and Volcasaurus is really powerful. For the side, an extra Chimera Tech against decks like Gigia, Machina, Gadgets, decks like that. Basically any sort of machine deck you can side it in against, even a mirror match. 1 Majesty's Fiend. I'm testing this card. I was originally main decking 1 and trying to test it because this card just shuts down decks like Bujin, Mermel, just shuts them down completely, and you could discard it for Galaxy Soldier if you draw it dead, so I feel like this card's worth it. Consecrated Light, similar to Majesty's Fiend, if you dead draw it, you could discard it for a Galaxy Soldier, and it really helps out against Evil Swarm, which is a painful matchup, to say the least. Evil Swarm pretty much just rapes this deck completely, but it's pretty much the only deck which does that, and too bad this Evil Swarm just rapes any high level deck, to be honest, so it's not like it's got a rare sort of weakness to it. But Consecrated Light is really, really good. It fits in with the light theme of the deck, and it shuts down decks like Evil Swarm. 2 Ally of Justice Cycle Reader. This card is really good against Chronomaly, the Mirror Match, and also artifacts. This is the main reason why I'm siding it, is because of artifacts. You can still use it because it's a tuner, so if you discard something to summon a Galaxy Soldier, you can still normal summon this, go for Stardust or a Jeweled Red Dragon Archfiend, so it has a bit of synergy, and it's a dark as well for BOS. DD Crow, because this deck sort of, runs a lot of hand traps, and DD Crow sort of just fits in, and it's also a dark. Triple Debunk, because you're going to see a lot of Maxi sided against you, Veilers, stuff to stop your OTKs, and oh my gosh. Sorry guys, I'll cut the video here and I'll continue afterwards. So sorry about that guys, DN cut out on me, so I'll continue where I left off. I'm sided 3 debunk for Veilers, Maxis, any sort of hand traps, and against artifacts and Chronomaly. Debunk is really good against Chronomaly because it hits Skull, and it also hits Nebrodisc when it's in the graveyard, and if they're playing the artifact engine, it's just extremely live against them all the time. If you're going first against artifacts, Debunk is amazing to open up with. It can pretty much just lock them out of their plays, and they I've played against the deck quite a lot, and quite often they'll need that one card to sort of get their deck rolling, and that's to open up really good, and Debunk can just interrupt that play and just I wouldn't say get them to top decking, but get them into a situation where they need to top deck a certain card in order to get their deck rolling again. 2 DNA Surgery, because we're playing Cyber Dragon, and if you DNA Surgery your opponent and your opponent's played a deck which requires a lot of field presence like Light Sworn or any sort of spam deck, you can just DNA Surgery, summon Cyber Dragon, and then just clear their field, put like a 5k Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, and just proceed from there. And 2 trap stun against, like, obviously Chain Burn is a thing, so you can side trap stun in against them when they go for their ridiculously long chains. And also just against any sort of trap heavy deck like Trap Tricks, also against Evil Swarm and any deck which requires a lot of traps to run. So that's the deck profile guys. It's kind of unprofessional, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave comments in the comment section below, like and subscribe if you haven't, and this is Azor Option signing out, and have a nice day.